Think about it. Have you ever witnessed someone talk themselves into a problem they could have avoided? Have you seen a person reveal too much only to have their own words used against them? In business, in relationships, in negotiations, those who speak carelessly often lose, while those who master silence control the game. Silence isn't just the absence of words. It's a tool, a strategy, a force that dictates influence and authority. Yet most people fear it. They rush to fill the quiet, afraid of discomfort, unsure of what it might reveal about themselves. But the truth is, those who master silence master control over conversations, outcomes, and ultimately, their own destiny. Today I'm going to show you why silence is one of the most powerful weapons you can wield. I'll explain how speaking less can elevate your presence, strengthen your relationships, and give you an edge in every aspect of life. By the time we're done, you'll understand that true confidence isn't about having the loudest voice, it's about knowing when to stay quiet. Because in a world where everyone is desperate to be heard, the person who controls their words controls everything. 1. The hidden power of silence. How it puts you in control. Most people don't realize it, but every conversation is a silent battle for control. And more often than not, they lose before they even know they're playing. Why? Because they talk too soon, too much, and too freely. By the time they recognize their mistake, it's already too late. True control isn't about dominating a conversation with words. It's about mastering the art of restraint. The person who dictates the flow of dialogue is rarely the one speaking the most. Instead, it's the one who listens, who pauses, who allows silence to work in their favor. Think about the last time you negotiated something, a job offer, a deal, even a personal argument. The moment you started over-explaining, you lost leverage. The moment you justified your request, you weakened your position. The moment you rushed to fill the silence, you handed over control. Silence, when used correctly, forces others to work for your attention, approval, and validation. When you speak too much, your words lose weight. But when you hold back, people lean in. They listen more intently. They respect your words when you finally choose to speak. Consider relationships, both personal and professional. The person who constantly texts, calls, or over-explains appears desperate, overly eager, and easy to disregard. But the one who creates space, who remains a little unpredictable, naturally commands more interest and respect. This is the law of supply and demand. The more abundant something is, the less valuable it becomes. If you're always available, always talking, always justifying, you become ordinary. But if you create mystery, if you make people work for your words, you become instantly more valuable. Here's a challenge. The next time someone asks you a question, pause for 3 seconds before answering. It will feel uncomfortable at first, but resist the urge to respond immediately. Watch how they react. Most people will start second-guessing themselves, clarifying their question, or even revealing more than they intended just to fill the silence. And all you had to do was wait. This technique works in business, relationships, and every area of life. Because silence isn't just the absence of words, it's the presence of control. Master it, and you'll never lose another conversation again. 2. The Stoic power of listening. How to control any conversation. Most people believe they are good listeners. They're not. They don't actually listen, they wait for their turn to speak. They're so eager to share their own thoughts, prove their point, or impress others that they miss the most valuable thing in any conversation: information. The world doesn't belong to those who talk the most. It belongs to those who listen the best. The ones who absorb while others spill their thoughts carelessly. The ones who observe while others expose themselves without realizing it. Listening isn't just a skill, it's an advantage, a weapon that separates the powerful from the powerless. Look at the people who command respect effortlessly. They are not the loudest in the room, they don't fight for attention. Instead, They watch, they wait, they listen with deadly precision. They don't just hear words, they read tone, hesitation, body language, what's left unsaid. They listen between the lines, and in doing so, they gain knowledge others don't even realize they're giving away. The truth is, people reveal everything when they talk too much. Their weaknesses, their insecurities, their emotions, their limits. It's all there for the taking. And the person who listens, the one who remains quiet and controlled, is the most dangerous person in the room. Want proof? Pay attention to how people behave in conversations. The ones who argue constantly, who always need to be heard, who interrupt, thinking that speaking more makes them look smarter. These are the easiest people to manipulate. Why? Because they don't listen. They don't notice the traps being set. They don't realize how much control they're giving away just by filling the silence. But the observer, the disciplined listener, the one who resists the urge to speak, they hold the real power. They create tension with their silence. They force others to work harder in conversation, to reveal more, to chase for validation. In the end, the one who listens the most controls the outcome. Try this experiment. In your next conversation, say nothing when there's a pause. Let the silence sit. Let the other person feel its weight. Watch what happens. They will start talking again, filling the gap, explaining themselves, revealing more than they intended. And all you had to do was stay quiet. This is how power works, not by being the loudest, but by being the most controlled. If you want to dominate in business, in relationships, in negotiations, in life, master the art of listening, because the one who listens wins. 3. The hidden power of silence. Why it makes you stronger. What if I told you that one of the most powerful skills in life isn't what you say, but what you don't say? Most people underestimate the power of silence. They think conversations are about speaking, about proving themselves, about making their presence known. But in reality, the ones who control the conversation, the ones who command respect, are the ones who have mastered the ability to say nothing at all. Look around, the world is drowning in noise. People are glued to their phones, constantly consuming, constantly talking, terrified of a moment of stillness. Why? Because silence forces self-reflection. It makes people sit with their thoughts, their doubts, their insecurities, and that's something most would rather avoid. This fear of silence extends to conversations. The moment there's a pause, people rush to fill it. They over-explain, overshare, and give away far more than they realize. But the person who can embrace silence, the one who can hold their ground without the need to fill the void, that person has the real advantage. In high-stakes negotiations, the one who speaks the least holds the most power. Their silence makes the other person nervous, forcing them to reveal too much, to negotiate against themselves. In arguments, the person who stays quiet while the other reacts emotionally always appears stronger, more rational, more in control. Try this. The next time there's a pause in conversation, resist the urge to speak. Let the silence sit. Watch how the other person reacts. They will start talking, exposing their thoughts, their weaknesses, their need for validation, all while you remain composed and unreadable. The world teaches us that power comes from speaking up, but the real secret, power comes from knowing when to stay silent. If you can master that, you won't just be heard, you'll be respected, feared, and in complete control. The power of restraint. Why talking less makes you stronger. In a world where everyone is desperate to be heard, those who speak the least often hold the most power. Yet most people don't realize that talking too much weakens them. Every word you say reveals something, your thoughts, your emotions, your plans. And the more you reveal, the easier it is for others to use that information against you. Talking too much is often a sign of insecurity. It shows a lack of self-control, a need for validation, a desperation to be understood. People who constantly speak are trying to prove something, filling the silence because they don't feel strong enough to let it speak for them. But look at the people who command the most respect. Their words carry weight because they don't waste them. They don't explain everything. They don't share more than necessary. And when they do speak, people listen. Now think about those who never stop talking, who always have something to say, who fear silence, who reveal everything about themselves without a second thought. Their words lose value. If someone talks too much, nothing they say holds weight. Silence creates mystery, and mystery creates power. When people don't know everything about you, they have to guess, they have to wonder, they have to think about you more. That gives you control. Talking too much also makes you easier to manipulate. The more information you give, the easier it is for someone to use it against you. If you reveal your weaknesses, people will exploit them. If you talk about your fears, people will use them to control you. If you share your ambitions too soon, others will sabotage you before you even begin. This is why the most powerful individuals move in silence. They don't announce their plans, they don't seek approval, they act. And by the time others realize what they've done, it's already too late to stop them. Want to change your life? Stop talking so much. Stop over-explaining. Stop announcing every move you make. Say only what is necessary and let people wonder. Let them guess. Let them assume you're always 3 steps ahead, even when you're not. Because the truth is, talking too much makes you ordinary. But controlled silence? That makes you powerful. That makes you untouchable. That makes you dangerous. 5. The art of silence. How to stay calm under pressure. In moments of pressure, most people crack. They react emotionally, raise their voices, get defensive, and start talking too much, desperately trying to explain, justify, or regain control. But in reality, control doesn't come from speaking. It comes from silence. The moment you let emotions dictate your words, you lose power. The person who can't control their emotions is the one who gets controlled by others. And nothing signals weakness faster than speaking when you don't need to. Look at any conflict. Who appears stronger? The one who gets flustered, talks in circles, and over-explains? Or the one who remains calm, speaks deliberately, and refuses to be drawn into unnecessary arguments? The answer is obvious. The one who controls themselves controls the situation. Most arguments aren't won with words, they're won with presence. If you can stay calm and silent under pressure, you become unpredictable. And unpredictable people are both feared and respected. No one knows what you're thinking. No one knows your next move. No one can manipulate you. This is why powerful individuals never let emotions dictate their responses. They don't waste words. They understand that silence, when used correctly, is the deadliest weapon in a heated situation. Try this. The next time someone pressures you, insults you, or tries to provoke a reaction, do nothing, say nothing, just watch. Let them expose themselves while you remain unreadable. People will throw accusations, bait you, try to break your silence. But the moment you engage emotionally, they win. This applies to every area of life. In relationships, silence under pressure shows strength. In business, silence in negotiations creates leverage. In confrontations, staying calm confuses your opponent and forces them to reveal their weaknesses. Silence makes people uncomfortable, and when people are uncomfortable, they reveal more than they intend. The key is to train yourself. The next time someone challenges you, don't react. Hold the silence. Stay calm. Watch how they become uneasy. Watch how they start talking too much, revealing everything you need to know without you saying a word. This is how you control any situation, not by overpowering with words, but by mastering the power of silence. 6. The power of knowing when to speak and when to stay. Silent, most people don't realize how much damage they do to themselves simply by talking too much. They reveal too much, explain too much, and let their emotions dictate their words. In doing so, they give away their power without even realizing it. Words should be used with precision, not thrown around carelessly. The most powerful people in the world understand this. They know that silence can be just as impactful, if not more, than speaking. They know when to let words work for them and when to let silence do the talking. There is a time to speak and a time to stay quiet. The problem is, most people don't know the difference. In business, silence is leverage. The one who speaks first in a negotiation often loses power. If you make an offer, say it, and then be quiet. Let the other person feel the weight of the silence. Let them fill the void. The longer they hesitate, the more information they reveal. In relationships, silence is control. The person who is too available, too eager, too talkative loses value. But the one who knows when to hold back, when to let the other person wonder, when to let their actions speak louder than words, they command respect, attraction, and influence. Most people talk too much because they fear being misunderstood. They over-explain, over-justify, and overcompensate. But truly powerful individuals don't chase validation. They don't need to explain themselves to everyone. They say only what needs to be said, nothing more. Ask yourself this: have you ever regretted staying silent? Probably not. But how many times have you regretted saying too much? That's the difference. Talking exposes, silence protects. From now on, make your words intentional. Don't speak just to fill the silence. Own it. Speak only when necessary. Let others wonder what you're thinking. Let them lean in, trying to decipher your next move. Because the truth is, power doesn't belong to the loudest voice in the room. It belongs to the one who knows when to stay silent. 7. The power of silence. In conversations. Most people believe that the one who talks the most, argues the hardest, or dominates a discussion with words is the one in control. But the truth is, real power belongs to the person who speaks the least. Silence is not just the absence of words, it is pressure. It forces people to talk more than they should. It creates tension, making the other person feel uncomfortable, and in that discomfort they reveal themselves. Watch how people act when silence lingers. They start explaining themselves when they don't need to. They justify things they were never questioned about. They give away too much. This is why the most powerful individuals use silence as a weapon. They don't waste energy arguing. They don't rush to fill the void. They let silence do the work for them. In negotiations, the person who talks the least always wins. When an offer is put on the table, the first person to speak loses power. They feel the pressure of silence and start backpedaling, lowering their demands, softening their position. Meanwhile, the one who remains silent stays in complete control, forcing the other side to crack first. In arguments, silence creates frustration. When someone wants to provoke you, when they push for a reaction, when they try to make you lose control, the best response is to say nothing. Let them talk. Let them expose their emotions. Let them reveal their weakness while you remain unshaken. They will beg for your reaction, try to pull you into their game. But when you don't give them what they want, they lose control and you win without saying a word. Silence can also be a test. When someone is lying, when they are unsure, when they are hiding something, silence makes them uncomfortable. The longer the pause, the more they panic. They start adding unnecessary details. They talk themselves into trouble. They expose their own lies. Try this in any conversation. Ask a question and then say nothing. Wait. Let the silence stretch. See what happens. Most people will break. They will start explaining themselves unnecessarily. They will reveal information they never intended to. The person who controls silence controls the conversation. Because words are expected. Words are predictable. But silence? Silence unsettles people. And in that nervousness, they show their true selves. If you want an edge in life, learn to master the power of silence. 8. The power of silence. Lessons from history's greatest minds. What if the key to influence, respect, and control wasn't in what you said, but in what you chose not to say? In a world obsessed with talking, posting, and constantly proving oneself, silence has become a rare and underestimated force. But history tells us a different story. The most powerful figures, whether in politics, war, business, or personal influence, have never been the ones who spoke the most. They were the ones who spoke the least but made every word count. Look at history's greatest leaders, the minds that shaped civilizations, the generals who commanded armies, and the business magnates who built unstoppable empires. They all had one thing in common. They never revealed their plans before they executed them. They never wasted words trying to prove themselves. Instead, they observed, they listened, they allowed others to speak first, to expose their own weaknesses, to show their intentions, while they remained unreadable, unpredictable, and always in control. Julius Caesar didn't announce his every move. He simply crossed the Rubicon and changed history. Napoleon knew that silence in negotiations made the enemy uneasy, forcing them to reveal more than they should. The world's most successful investors and entrepreneurs don't explain every strategy before acting. They move in silence and let their results do the talking. Now look at today's world. Social media has made it normal to share every thought, every opinion, every move. People talk not because they need to, but because they fear being overlooked. But in their rush to speak, they weaken themselves. They reveal their plans before they're ready. They argue when they should be listening. They expose emotions that should be kept in check. The truth is, silence is a skill, one that few have mastered. The ability to hold back, to observe, to resist the impulse to fill every moment with words. This is what separates the powerful from the powerless. Those who can sit in silence without fear, who can listen without needing to interrupt, who can withhold their emotions instead of reacting impulsively, these are the people who hold real influence. So, ask yourself, do you want to be just another voice in the noise, constantly talking but never truly being heard? Or do you want to be the person people stop and listen to when you finally speak? From this moment forward, don't just speak, make your words count. Let others wonder what you're thinking. Let them lean in when you finally say something. Let them realize that when you choose to speak, every word carries weight. Because in the end, the ones who control silence are the ones who truly control everything. 9. The silent power of presence. Mastering nonverbal communication. What if you could control an entire conversation without saying a single word? Most people believe influence comes from talking, saying the right things, using the right words, making the right arguments. But the truth is, the most powerful form of communication isn't spoken at all. It's in your presence, your body language, your eye contact, your energy. The most dominant people in any room aren't necessarily the ones who talk the most. They are the ones who carry themselves with unshakable confidence, who make others feel their presence without needing to prove anything. Think about the most respected and powerful figures throughout history. They weren't frantic talkers, they didn't fidget, they didn't nervously explain themselves. Instead, they understood the power of stillness. They used silence and body language to command attention. When they entered a room, people noticed, not because of what they said, but because of how they carried themselves. Now compare that to how weak people behave. They avoid eye contact, they shift nervously, they speak too quickly, trying to fill every pause with words. They try to convince others of their worth rather than making others feel it. But no amount of talking can hide nervous, insecure body language. This is why nonverbal dominance is everything. In business, the person who holds eye contact the longest controls the negotiation. In social settings, the one who moves with purpose and confidence naturally attracts attention. In relationships, the person who controls their emotions, who doesn't overreact, who lets their presence speak louder than their words, they are the ones who hold the power. Try this the next time you enter a room. Don't rush to talk. Don't fidget. Don't over-explain yourself. Just observe, own the space, hold the silence. Watch how people respond differently to you. Watch how they start trying to read you rather than the other way around. Master this, and you will never have to fight for attention again. You won't need to prove yourself with words. People will feel your presence before you even speak. 10. The hidden power of silence. How it leads to inner peace. In a world that never stops talking, silence is a rare and powerful force. Most people are trapped in a cycle of overthinking, over-explaining, and constantly trying to control how others perceive them. Their minds are always racing, searching for the right words, justifying their actions, defending their opinions. But what if the key to real peace wasn't found in words but in their absence? The moment you stop feeling the need to explain yourself, the moment you let go of the urge to react to everything, you gain something far greater than validation. You gain complete control over your mind. Silence is not just about power over others, it is power over yourself. Think about it. Most people talk out of fear. They speak because silence makes them uncomfortable. They fill the air with meaningless words to escape their own thoughts. But in doing so, they lose control. They let their emotions, their insecurities, and the opinions of others dictate their words. The strongest people in the world, the ones who move with unshakable confidence, have mastered the art of restraint. They don't let every little thing demand their response. They speak when necessary, and when they do, every word carries weight. Try this experiment. For an entire day, speak only when absolutely necessary. No small talk, no unnecessary comments. Just listen, observe. Hold your words like a weapon instead of wasting them. Watch what happens to your mind. You'll notice how much calmer you feel, how much sharper your thoughts become, how much more you notice about the world around you. Most of the stress people carry comes from words. Words they regret, words they wish they could take back, words spoken in moments of weakness. But when you stop speaking out of impulse, you stop creating problems that never needed to exist. A person who can sit in silence without needing distractions is a person who is in complete control of themselves. Most people will never experience true peace because they talk themselves into stress, into anxiety, into weakness. They over-explain, they overshare, they let words rule their lives. But those who understand the power of silence, they walk through the world untouchable. They cannot be manipulated, shaken, or influenced because they have mastered the rarest skill of all, self-control. From this moment on, let silence be your strength. Let it be the tool that sets you apart from the weak, reactive, and easily influenced. Stop talking so much. Start owning the silence. You have no idea how many opportunities you've lost just because you spoke too soon. How many people have taken advantage of your words? How many times you've made yourself look weak by explaining too much? Today, that changes. From now on, you choose your words carefully. You let others talk first. You use silence to make people uncomfortable, to make them work for your attention, to control every conversation without effort. This is how you become powerful, not by speaking louder, but by speaking less.